We have another one for you guys today. Next user by the name of Joe Murgia just posted a clip from the Leto Files YouTube channel. The Leto Files, he interviewed a doctor. His name is Gregory Rogers. He was actually a chief flight surgeon for NASA. So yeah, I mean, this guy, another one where we're talking about people that were in the military that are bringing this out publicly now, right? And these are credible sources. These need to be taken quite seriously because of the source of who we're hearing this information from. He goes in this interview and he talks about once he found out about this, he didn't even tell his wife for like 15 years. Obviously worried about their safety, if he tells anybody about this. But what's interesting about this one though is that when he describes what he saw, the saucer coming up off the ground and it starts to rotate, what he sees on the saucer, it says United States Air Force. There's some writing on the saucer itself. So have we cracked anti-gravity technology? Let's watch it. See?
He took me into this little office. It had 4 computer sites for 4 different people. But he shut the door, locked it, and then he closed the mini blind louvers on the door. There was a set of windows, and he closed the mini blinds on the windows. So I'm sitting there thinking, hold it, what's going on here? This does not look normal. And I was becoming a little bit skeptical, but he said, watch, I've got something to show you. So he sat down at his computer station, and he turns it on, the screen's on, he's doing all of this stuff. And I don't have any idea what he's doing. All of a sudden he says, okay, here it is. So he scooted over 1 seat to his left, and I sat down in his seat. And I looked at this computer screen. It was completely clean screen. It had no identification of classification markings, no location, time, date, nothing. There was nothing explaining about the video I was seeing on the screen. Now then, it was a fairly typical looking hangar. Could have been any hangar anywhere, except that what was in the middle of the hangar was an actual flying saucer. It just sort of lifted off the floor. And
now, obviously, this is just a recreation, right? But I just wanted to pause it right here for a second, because right there is the insignia that he said he saw when it rotated. U.S. Air Force. Now, my question to you guys, did we crack anti-gravity with this UFO? Is this ours and we cracked the technology? Or is this an actual UFO and we just branded it United States Air Force? You know what I mean? I don't know.
The floor looked like a concrete floor with like some kind of rubber mat that had been put on top of it. You can go to your garage and put mats in there to keep it clean and dry and all of that. And so it looked like there was something like that. But it lifted off just like a feather. It rose about 3 feet in the air and then just hung there. So as I'm watching, the next thing that it does is that it rotates 360 degrees clockwise. Now, then, this is where I learned the rest of the information. What I describe as the 12 o'clock position, I do so because it was the one area totally separate from anything else. As it rotated across, I could see the writing U.S. Air Force. And then it had an American flight insignia just above that. So that was the one place that was totally different, which is why I'm classifying it as the 12 o'clock position. So I'm watching this thing rotate, and I can see the rectangles moving, but here's this writing that is moving as it rotates with this U.S. flight insignia. And so now that surprised me even more than just seeing the flying saucer right in front of me. It completed a 360-degree circle, paused, and then completed a 360-degree circle counterclockwise so that it was in the same position it had started in. It moved to the left and right. It moved forward and backwards. It's just like, you're testing your controls, making sure that you have everything working. And then it rotated to a 45-degree angle of attack if it were flying and the 12 o'clock position was going forward. Now then, this is amazing. Fixed wing aircraft can't do this. Rotary wing aircraft, I had my solo certificate in helicopters, and I had 500 hours in rotary wing aircraft. The lift is from the disc of the rotors, and it's in 90 degrees perpendicular, so that to raise up, that's no big deal. That's what it's supposed to do. That's how you get it in a hover. But as soon as you change the angle of attack, you're moving the thrust vector. So there's going to be part of the thrust vector that is down, but now part of that thrust vector is going to be in a direction. Because it's in a direction, the aircraft will move in the opposite direction. So a helicopter could go to a 45-degree angle of attack, but it's going to be moving forward and lifting. This thing did not do that. And so this shocked me more than anything else, because it did not move 1 centimeter as it moved to what would be a 45-degree angle of attack.
So I found this part interesting, because when you look back to Bob Lazar, he had made a statement that, was it Bob Lazar? I believe it was Bob Lazar, where he said it had to go to a 45-degree angle, and then that's how it went forward. And then you combine that with, God, what was that footage? One of our pilots caught it on radar. Not radar. It was heat signature, I think. It was all over the news. And when you looked at that one, it was actually sitting at that 45-degree angle while it was flying. So now with him saying this, it just all kind of, you know what I mean? It all just kind of comes together, right?
So that really just blew me away. So I'm really focused on this. Just about that time, there's a knock on the door. The guy hits the buttons to turn the computer and screen off, and he said, "Don't tell anyone I showed you this." Well, I'm going to go around telling somebody that you show me a flying saucer. Well, he goes to the door, opens it. We were both majors, and so this lieutenant colonel and 2 other guys came in, and so the lieutenant colonel said, "What's going on in here that you had the doors locked?" So the other major said, "Well, I had this skin thing, and I wanted to see if it was cancer, and so I was having Doc take a look at it." Well, now everybody looks to me. So my mind is racing. If it had said any degree of classification, I'm turning this guy in for showing me a classified video inappropriately. But there was nothing that said that. I got to thinking, all of these people work, these are the 4 people that work at these 4 computer stations. If this guy knew it and knew how to access that video, probably these other guys did too. So if I report this guy, I'm going to have to report them. That means I'm going to have to go to security. That means I'm going to have to go to their chain of command and report what was seen. And then I'm going to have to go back to my colonel and say, "Sir, I just want you to know that earlier today I saw a flying saucer, and so I reported a security incident, and all of these things are going on up at the Cape, and it's probably going to go up to the general, and he's going to have to contact his people because there's a type of anal material that tends to move quickly up the chain of command in the military, if you understand what I mean." I'm thinking, oh my goodness, all of these consequences are going to happen if I say anything. So I did what many airline pilots, what many Air Force pilots, naval aviators have done in the past. I ignored it and said it wasn't cancerous. And I said goodbye. I went out the door, got in my car, drove 30 minutes south to Patrick Air Force Base. And along the way, I thought, I can't tell this to anybody. So I didn't even tell it to my wife for 15 years. But as long as I was associated with the Department of Defense, I did not want to risk what the repercussions were going to be as soon as I told this story.
All right, guys, what do you think about Gregory Rogers here? Pretty compelling story he had, and if true, this is some breaking stuff. This is fascinating. Thank you to Joe Murguia and the Little Files for getting this information out, and everybody's channels will be linked down below. Obviously, credit to the Little Files for the interview, and credit to Joe Murguia for clipping this and posting it on X. You guys, let me know what you think down below. I want to talk about this. What do you think about what he saw? And do you think we cracked the anti-gravity technology? A lot of people think a lot of those things we're seeing up there are ours. So that would be a yes, obviously, right? Or do you think this is a alien tech and we just branded it ourselves? You know what I mean? And we're kind of just figuring out how to fly them, I guess, in essence, right? Me personally, I don't know. You hear from so many people that we've cracked this technology ages ago, right? It's like the 1950s, you know, and then you have people like Bob Lazar that sits there and says, there's no way, you know, we've cracked that technology, as he's saying we need a stable form of element 115, which we do not have. So who knows, man? You guys let me know what you think down below. Give me your thoughts on what you think. You know, I am definitely curious. Anyways, you guys, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.